Hi, everybody, and welcome back. This week we are on week 5 of our 7-week journey together here in Social Work 502, Human Behavior in the Social Environment 2 class here at Widener University. So this week we are going to be focusing on schizophrenia spectrum, other psychotic disorders, as well as the all-important issues of transference and countertransference in clinical social work practice. So as always, we're going to make sure that we carefully peruse the learning resources that are right here for us in Engage. In regard to the week 5 readings, you want to make sure that you read all of the schizophrenia assigned readings that you see here in the platform. And then you want to make sure that you choose one to read under this particular heading or designation. And then you want to make sure that you scroll down to our transference and countertransference assigned reading. It's a very interesting reading that we're going to really peruse and take a deeper dive into. When you write your clinical vignette too, I'm going to be asking you to pay attention to transference and countertransference that is happening with your client, or if you've chosen to do a case based on literature or a film, I'm going to ask you to imagine maybe what are some of the transference or countertransference that may be occurring if you are actually working with that client in reality. Also have some awesome media resources for you this week. These psych website case examples, as well as the SAMHSA website community conversations, which we're going to do a detailed discussion board posting about. We also have some great videos here which really help illustrate schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders. We have Ellen Sachs here giving us her very transparent and emotionally honest tale of mental illness from the inside, and then this very informative video on transference and projection, two really important concepts that we need to understand when working with clients. So after you complete the learning resources, you want to come down to our week 5 discussion board post, Community Conversations and Mental Health, and click on that blue link here. So there's essentially 2 parts in this community conversation about mental health. Part 1 is using that SAMHSA website discussion guide for community conversations about mental health as a resource, and the information about schizophrenia from your Francis and DSM-5 assigned readings. You want to choose one of the 4 session ideas from the SAMHSA website guide, and then actually go and explain the symptoms of schizophrenia to a family member, friend, or a colleague in non-professional, layperson, just regular, plain language. Part 2 of this assignment, for your initial post, you want to state which of the 4 session ideas that you used and provide a brief summary in your own words of exactly what you said to the family member, friend, or colleague. So in addition, I want you to describe what you would change if you would redo your explanation, if anything. So this week's discussion board posting requires a response prompt, so you want to make sure that you're following up with at least 2 classmates, again, preferably following up with classmates who do not have yet responses written on the discussion board post. So our second week 5 discussion board posting is around and about the ideas of clinical transference and countertransference. So you're asked to give an example of how transference, countertransference, or projection might affect the process of assessment for making a health diagnosis. So again, these are really important concepts that you're going to encounter almost daily if you're working clinically with clients. So it's very important to be aware of these things. And transference and countertransference aren't always problematic. When they become problematic, oftentimes is when we're not aware of them and we're not working through issues of countertransference within supervision. So an example maybe of healthy countertransference would be, let's say that you were a clinician who had a great deal of time in recovery from drug and alcohol addiction, And let's say that you were providing clinical counseling in a drug and alcohol setting. So you may be able to relate to your clients in a very healthy way. They may know that you're in recovery. Whether or not you choose to self-disclose or share stories is personal, and it's a consideration that I encourage you to really discuss with your supervisor prior to doing that. When the transference tends to get unhealthy is when we are not recognizing it, or we're recognizing it and we're having some negative feelings about the client that may be getting into the way of the work. Countertransference can actually become unhealthy, related to self-care, which is something that we're going to revisit later on in various courses here at Widener. The importance of self-care, making sure that our own needs are met as we practice social work. So I look forward to reading your responses. And again, this particular post requires 2 response prompts. You want to make sure that you're following up with at least 2 of your classmates this week. And you can feel free, of course, to follow up with some more if you're so inclined. So I look forward to reviewing your responses. And as always, if you have any questions or concerns, I'm just an email away. I hope you have a great week.